preparing. Give me setting up.
That's the right way.
Oh, yeah, that's good. Very
Okay,
good.
good.
It's got a little flag.
I don't know how you guys see it. Make
Tim
sure
is
it's not
muted.
backwards.
Winky.
Hey, Tom. Colleen.
It says it's now streaming, so can we start, Howard?
Yes, you can. Now, Jerry, are you monitoring it on the YouTube?
It's live streaming, yes. You're good. It's
You're
working.
good.
Okay. You ready, Howard?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Hello, everybody.
I don't know how you
So
guys.
I'd like to start the meeting off with the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America.
To the republic,
Which stands
one nation,
under God, indivisible, with liberty.
liberty, and justice for all.
Thank you. You could, sit.
That wasn't my dog, Al.
That's my dog.
All right. Here we go. So, a moment of silence, please, for the men and women fighting all over the world for democracy and freedom, especially our first responders. And our prayers go out to the family of Joe Porco, who passed away. So let's have a moment of silence for them. Okay, thank you very much.
We could put it on mute. 'Cause-
So I like to make a amendment for the agenda tonight. Ms. Hickman and Mr. Ross will not be appearing. So in their place, I met with the chief and them. I'd like the chief to do a presentation on the rally or the demonstration. So I make that motion.
Second it.
Second.
Sorry about that. Jumped the gun. Also like to add, as far as the discussion on new business, it might be old business, but it's a concern of mine, is the Western Avenue water tank. It looks like it's really in bad shape. And I think that would be under new business. I don't think we discussed that lately anyhow.
No.
And that's all I have to amend the agenda. So I need a motion to amend the agenda on those two issues.
A motion.
I need a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, so moved. Thank you very much, gentlemen. So a motion to accept the agenda as stated with the different changes. So I need a motion to accept the amended agenda.
I'll make that motion.
I need a second.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 So fast. Thank you very much,
We
gentlemen.
just had 3 folks join the meeting out, just for your,
Okay.
Chris and Joe, and I think Mark Reynolds probably on the phone. I'm guessing.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So I make a motion to approve minutes from the May 26, 2020 town board meeting.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Thank you, Danielle. Great minutes as always. Appreciate it. Authorize payment of bills in the amount of $147,079.86. I need a motion to pay the bills, gentlemen.
Pay the bills. I make the motion.
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So moved. There aren't any comments on the agenda for the people that joined. None being said. Tim, why don't I put you ahead and why don't we talk about Pride Month? As you know, the board is committed to this every year. We had a resolutions that we would bring it up every year. And that's one of the reasons that I called you and asked you if you'd like to be on the agenda to do the presentation to remind everybody about Pride Month.
And I greatly appreciate being here. Thank you, Supervisor, for inviting me. I apologize for not having the original presentation that we did 3 years ago, but this is the third year of renewing the commitment of the town of Marlborough to declare June as Gay Pride Month in Marlborough. And I want to thank you, I think particularly this year with the conflicts and unrest that's been happening throughout our nation. It's great and wonderful to live in a town where people tend to acknowledge other people for their differences or for their similarities. And I'm very happy to live in a town where the town board actually acknowledges all of us. So thank you very much. June is Gay Pride Month. There will be no parade, although watch out, time will come when we'll have a parade right down Route 9W.
Good.
And you'll all
Welcome
be
back,
marching with us. So
There you go. There you go.
thank you very much and happy Pride.
Thank you very much, Tim. Thank you for that. And
Thanks,
thank
Tim.
the town board for acknowledging Pride Month and continuing the promise that we kept with that resolution. And thank you, Scott Corcoran, and but all the board members for doing that. So I appreciate that. So like I said, in lieu of having the two organizers of the demonstration or the rally, I'm going to have Chief Picosa explain to you exactly. We had two meetings, one a while back, a couple weeks, and just recently one today that was very promising and very satisfactory, I think, to the chief and myself. So Chief, it's all yours.
Okay. So last week we met with the organizers of the protest. They were extremely undecided on many factors. We gave them some time to figure out what they wanted to do, and we made arrangements for a meeting today. We had that meeting today. The two organizers, Tatiana Hickman and Connor Ross.
Cooper.
Cooper Ross. I'm sorry, Cooper Ross. They came. Linda Hickman was there, and a gentleman by the name of Joseph Strattamore was also there. Joseph is responsible for coordinating the rally that was happened in Poughkeepsie last week. So we had a very informative meeting. Originally, they had plans on going from the town park to the Marlborough Presbyterian Church, back to police headquarters, and then back to the town park. They had some time to think about that, and when we met today, we've come up with a different route that's we've solidified. It's going to be the route we're going to follow. So the plan is to march from, the plan is for them to rally at the town park. When they're ready to march, they'll march south on 9W. We will cross them at 1650 or Chestnut Lane to the northbound side of 9W. They'll march directly back towards the park. They'll cut down St. James Street to the police department. We'll have a quick 8-minute and 43-second ceremony in the grass area in front of the police department. They'll march out the northern entrance, cross 9W, and back to the town park for a conclusion of their rally. The rally's on Facebook. As of today, they had 170 positive hits. That's both people that show interest and are clicking on the little "I'm going to participate" button. So as of today, they expect roughly 170.
Hey, Chief, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Did you mention that Doveridge was at the meeting and a representative from the sheriff's office?
No, I did not. I did not mention that. We did have Lieutenant Fulford from the sheriff's department in that meeting with us today. They're going to provide us some help, as well as I've made contact with Sergeant Nielsen from the state police. They're going to provide us some help with this as well. The big question at this point in time is we don't know how many people are going to actually show up. They're telling us that roughly a third of the people that show interest on Facebook or click on Facebook that say they're coming show up. So that's the big question. It could be 200, 300, could be 800. Given the fact that it's Marlborough, we're not a big city. I'm preparing for 200 and 300 people. And in reality, that's what they thought they were going to have too, between 200 and 300 people.
Hey, Jerry,
Yes, sir.
real quick, you think we should reach out to Mobile Life, Scott Wabsey, just to make sure we have a unit available? At least
Sure,
one?
in the agenda, we will have a unit here in town. We have, it's during regular
Yeah,
hours that our ambulance is here, but I was going to reach out to him because, often they do pull our ambulance to go to other jurisdictions. So
Sure.
I was going to reach out to make sure that either our rig can stay here during the event, or they actually just assign another rig here for the purpose of the event only.
yeah, because I kind of looked at the weather. It looks like it's going to be 75 and partly sunny, but still, I mean, it's a lot of walking. You know what I mean? So,
Yep. Yep. So we do have a contingency plan for that. The protesters are going to, or the organizers will bring water for the protesters. They also are telling us there'll be masks worn. There's no guarantees about everything, but it sounds like, based on all the work that they've done, that, and with their advisor, Joseph, I think this is going to be a peaceful rally. We do worry about the insurgents, the people that come in and just want to cause trouble. They're well aware of that as well, and that's not their intention. They made it crystal clear today that once the march starts, they just want to march straight down south on 9W, make that U-turn and march straight back to get back off the road. Doesn't sound like they want to spend any significant amount of time on the roadway itself. But yeah,
Jerry, is anybody from your guys going to be escorting them down 9W? How are they? They're just walking on the side of the street? I mean,
Be escorted.
how are we doing?
obviously we just can't let them walk down the street on their own. That's too dangerous. So what I figured we would do is we would make this section of the route is very nice because it's 4 lanes and 2 lanes in each direction. So with a rolling blockade, we will close the right lane with police cars as they walk on the shoulder, and we'll make a rolling blockade the length of their march. We'll spread the cars out appropriately. 1 car will lead, 1 car will follow. We plan on shutting 9W down when it's time for them to cross from Chestnut Lane over to the northbound side. And then we'll do that same rolling roadblock all the way up to St. James Street, occupying the right lane, leaving the left lane free for travel.
Are they going to be speaking in front of the police department, or just doing their time?
I would imagine will be some sort of small speech as to why they're doing what they're doing. And then the plan is for them to take their knee for 8 minutes and 43 seconds and do their little ceremony, and then up and back out to the town park where they'll do a closing ceremony. They have a plan, a very short speech and a prayer. And then that marks the end of their protest. And they expect pretty much everybody to vacate at that point. They're not going to offer food or beverage or anything like that. It's just thank you for coming and on the way
So
there.
where's everybody parking? Where are they
Yeah, that's what I was
parking?
about to ask. Like,
200 cars.
At
will there be an escort back to the town park?
Yes, from
Okay.
PD. Yep, they're all going to park in the town park.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
I think one of the suggestions was that Amy would have water for them when Amy Hepworth and Gail Hepworth would have water for them as they cross 9W if anybody needed water. But Joseph made it very plain and clear to me, Chief and Dover Ridge, and the representative from the sheriff's office that definitely it's going to be movement. They're not going to stop. They're going to move. The sheriff's representative said that he's was in dialogue with Joseph with the Poughkeepsie demonstration, and he said the guy was an upstanding guy. They both came to compromise, and he said he fulfilled everything that they asked, and they fulfilled everything that he asked. So it was definitely, he was very happy to see Joseph there, and it seemed like it was a good meeting, and the 2 young people were very satisfied the way it went too.
So
No, I was satisfied as far as the safety and welfare of the people on 9W. So
in terms
the
of
biggest thing, like the chief said, is we just don't know how many people are going to be there. And, you know, they're on call now, so they actually know the sheriff department. And, you know, we made it clear to them if, you know, if it's needed, fine. But the chief said, you know, if I see that there's like 100, somebody, you know, 100 people there and I could take care of it, I'm going to give you a call and tell you, don't worry about it. Just keep on standby if there's any problems.
All right, so we've planned for a larger crowd. Worst case scenario, well, not worst case scenario, but we've planned for a bad scenario, many people showing up. As the event starts to unfold and there's 75 people standing and that looks like all they're gonna get, I'll peel back on the police presence. I'll peel back with the sheriff's department, I'll peel back with the state police. And if need be, I'll peel back on my guy. What I didn't want is the appearance of 60 protesters and 300 cops. That takes away from their protest and it might set an attitude and animosity that we don't want. We talked to them about who might be speaking. They're looking for any political opponent that they can get on their side that's willing to come and speak. The Faircloths, it does seem like they're going to be coming and speaking, and they also probably going to bring people to march in the parade. We made some suggestions, some other reverends and deacons and so forth, but they don't have an exact agenda or list of people that are going to speak. They did make it crystal clear that whoever speaks gets a time limit of 3 minutes. We asked them, or we didn't make any demands. We asked them if they can keep this within a 4-hour time frame, and they have every intention of making it 4 hours or less. They have a pretty strict agenda that they have in their mind. They don't have a written agenda, but in their mind, you know, allowing the people to speak only 3 minutes, it's not a tremendously long time, but it is pretty long when you're, you know, up there by yourself speaking. So they got a good idea what they want to do. My purpose is to make sure that they're safe. I know 9W does present some sort of issues, but I've used the rolling roadblock before, just recently this past week in another town, and it works very well, especially since we have the multiple lanes there. They did a great job of compromising on the route. I was very concerned about the original route going through the village of Marlborough. If something does go bad, where we are now, there's limited exposure to businesses, community members. Really, it's only the town hall that's anything catastrophe wise, if it's going to go bad, can happen. But we'll take the appropriate measures to safeguard that. And I think we're in a very good position, and I think we're good to go with this.
Jerry, where did you, what other town did you see a demonstration in?
I was involved in one in Fishkill.
Fishkill.
Yeah, I was in contact with Chief Janso from Lloyd in reference to the Poughkeepsie rally, which we provided 3 officers for him. And actually, Lieutenant Lloyd's having another one tomorrow that's supposed to start on Haviland Road, go down through the village and end at the police department. So I've been in conversation with him. I'm not going to partake in that one, but you know, I've had conversations with him. The one in Fishkill worked out very well. It was about 100 people, and they actually marched through the village of Fishkill, down Route 9 to Walmart, then back to the village of Fishkill from Walmart. And the rolling roadblock worked very well. There was 3 different agencies involved in it. And basically the rear car went to the next intersection, blocked the intersection, and we just kept piggybacking. And that's very similar to what we do here. Fortunately for us, there's only a few roads we have to cut off, and they're very minor roads. Our biggest concern is going to be the U-turn on 9W. We require a 4-lane shutdown for 2-3 minutes, you know, 5 minutes if there's 500 people or 1,000 people. But we'll facilitate that with police cars instead of people. So I'm confident. I don't really think there's going to be an issue, no problem. I think we'll have strong enough police presence available beyond what we have in the event that something does go awry. And but I really don't think it's gonna. I really don't. That's the feeling I got from the 2 adults and the 2 kids who were there today. I really think it's going to be their desires for it to be a peaceful demonstration. And like Supervisor Lanzetta said, Joe's word was proven once already with the City of Poughkeepsie rally. They made promises. They held true to their promises. They've made us promises. We've made them promises. I expect the same thing. If they want us to react the way we promised we're going to react, then they're going to need to come through on what they're telling us. If things don't go right from the beginning, well, we always have the opportunity to shut it down, but it's not going to go well. And I'm
Yeah,
hoping
I think
we
it's,
don't have to do that.
I think it's actually pretty good that you were able to come to an agreement to alter the route, because that would be a long walk on 9W.
Yes,
And
it
just
will.
making a situation for them,
Yeah.
the protesters, it would be that much more dangerous for them just
Yeah.
to be on that highway. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That was a far walk, and they agreed when they came in. When they came in, one of the first things that they said at the meeting, other than good morning and introducing themselves, was that we quickly have a route change. We quickly realized those ambitions were a little bit too large for what they really thought. They actually drove this route with the advisor that they had, Joe, and this makes much more sense, much more reasonable for everybody that wants to participate to be able to actually finish. And like I said, they've been very amenable to everything we've suggested, everything we've talked about. They've had some requests that we couldn't just oblige to, and they were completely understandable. So far, so good. We'll see what the rest of the week brings. We do have another meeting Friday at 10 a.m. To try and button up any other loose ends that might come up. And I will also meet with the 4 organizers at 10 o'clock on Sunday morning at the town park, because they're going to be setting up the stage and getting ready for their presentation in the start of the march.
And what,
That's the
And
plan.
Alan, much to their credit, me and the chief kind of stood back, and we didn't say anything because we didn't want to discourage them. 2 young people. It was the first time probably in the town of Marlborough since I've been supervisor, and so we kind of listened to them. And, the first thing was the 10 miles, and we said, "Oh, that's pretty long." And did you think about if it's hot and about the seniors maybe and so I think little by little they came around with their own thinking. It's probably the best thing to do is to make it short, and so these are the things that they came up with. So
Yeah,
it's
good.
still their protest, and I think we just guided them with the chief's expertise, and I think I have a good feeling about it. I commend them for doing what they're doing, the young people. So yeah, so we'll see what happens.
Good.
And everybody's welcome to come if you so desire. Can always use the help. All
Thanks, Jerry.
right, thank you.
Thank you, Jerry.
Thanks, Jerry.
Thanks, Al.
And
You're
thank you
welcome.
too, Al.
Thank you very much. I'm not speaking there, but I'll probably go just to see how everything goes.
I think you should speak, Al.
No. Thank you for the encouragement there, but I'll just go there to support them. So let's move on. Report of department and boards. And so I'll start with my supervisor's report, really brief. Because of the ongoing COVID pandemic, most of the work and meetings that took place were done from my home. Zoom with Councilman Baker and Will Hughes on the Marlborough Economic Development. Interviewed with Marlborough Free Library for their Meet the Community program. That was very exciting. They called me to do that. It was fun. Several meetings with the subcommittee of the trail development of the Marlborough Economic Development to discuss new trail across from St. Mary's on Tilcon property later on. Howard, maybe you could bring the board up to what we've done and the progress we've made down there. So remind me not to forget, Howard. I had a Zoom meeting with the Marlborough School District representatives, members of the town board, and the department heads and staff of the town to discuss phase opening of the town hall. Attended the town Memorial Day drive-by parade organized by Highway Superintendent John Alonji. I met with Sheila Manisi, representative of Meet Me in Marlborough, to discuss video for supporting local businesses. Zoom with town employees about most recent changes to the town hours. That was June 3rd. We started at 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. and with safety precautions to be used. So I did start on the 3rd. So I started working on the 3rd. I think it was the 3rd, right? It was a Wednesday. So started working at the town hall. It was great to be and seeing everybody and everybody being safe and healthy and wearing masks and using the hand sanitizers. I met with John Alongi. There was an issue of parking on West Street, and that's by the Presbyterian Church. So everything went well there. Met with Chief Kokosa, as I said, for the protests in the rally. We met twice. It's good to be back at work, seeing our fellow employees. We will continue to work to keep everyone safe. Respectfully, Al Lanzetta. Thank you very much, gentlemen. It was good to get back to work.
It is. And I've told him. Yeah, no, but I've told him.
So, building inspector, Tom, how you doing?
So I'm sorry, I don't mention.
Is Tom there?
All good. How you guys doing? All right.
Good.
Building inspector report, month of May 2020. Certificate of occupancy 1, request for information 9, trailer park renewals 2, building extensions 5, fire inspections 2, fire calls 1, stop work orders 1, orders to remedy 3, complaints 21, burn permits issued 36. Building permits, we had 4 additions, 36 burn permits, 1 carport, 3 decks, 3 demolitions, 3 electrical, 2 furnaces, 6 pools, 3 roofs, 1 shed, 1 solar panel, 2 tank installations, 1 pellet stove. 66 total permits for an estimated cost of building of $321,295. Monthly revenue, certificate of occupancy is $150, permit extensions $2261. Building permits $5,321.48. Request for information is $900. Fire inspections $200, trailer park renewals $500. Burn permit fees $80 for total fees for the month of $9,412.48. Total gas uses 72 gallons. Total miles 988 miles.
Any questions for Tom?
Nope.
Hey, Tom, put your other
Yes.
hat on. You got your other hat?
Yeah.
So, could you explain the board about phase 2 tomorrow?
Phase 2 tomorrow, we'll have your hair salon so people can get haircuts, but in those salons, they won't be able to do nails. In those hair salons, they could get their hair done, but they can't have their hair blow dried. They will be allowed outdoor dining. Facilities that have outdoor dining already could just continue using their dining outside with 6-foot separations and their employees wearing masks. People that are coming in must wear masks to the tables, then they could take them off. If there is a request for dining on sidewalks, that request will have to be made to the town. I have the forms on my desk. Frida's has inquired, but they do have some outside dining areas anyway that they might or might not use the sidewalk. But if they have to use the public sidewalks, there's an application to the town, basically laying out what they want to do, and then we could basically approve it based on that. For outside dining, but that's going to get the outside dining going. Pet grooming and all that goes back into effect. Curbside pickup, some retail. So phase 2 is pretty good tomorrow. We're getting going.
Okay. Is with the hair salons, is that by appointment only?
Well, they have protocols that they have, so they have to have 6 feet of separation inside, so they'll separate their seats. Basically, you by appointment anyway by hair salons, but what they're doing is basically allowing the waiting areas will be closed down. And then if you have an appointment, if there's 3 chairs, 3 people be in the chair 6 feet apart, they'll call you when that person walks out and allow you in. So there won't be no, accumulation of people in a certain area. So that's how they're doing it. They're wearing masks. People are wearing masks that come in, same thing. But again, they did eliminate until phase 3. Phase 3 will allow the nails and the hair blow drying of hair. So
I was very concerned about that.
Yeah, so for you, Ed, yeah, it would be a problem blow drying your hair.
Blow drying, no.
I actually got an email from the salon that I go to, and it was very, very, like what Tom just mentioned. everything he just mentions in there. I think there was a few more things that were mentioned in there, but it was very, very structured and how it's going to work. And basically you're going to show up, sit in your car. They will text you before you can come in. So it's,
Okay.
Yep, there'll be hand sanitizer at the door. Again, you're wearing masks. For Eddie, I recommend 2 masks, keep them on full time. And we go from there. But yeah, I mean, listen, it's, you know, it's hopefully, again, this is the next step and it's good. 2 weeks from now is phase 3. Governor's given the okay for 150 for graduation. That 150, if anybody asks, is not just 150 graduates, it's 150 total, including parents and administrative staff. So if the high school, if that stays constant to the 26th, then what's going to happen, I'll have to break that up because it's not 150 graduates, it's 150 total. But that has been approved by the governor now, 26th and after to do 150. So that was good news. Churches are now at 25%. They can go in the church now at 25% occupancy. So that's okay now.
Is that the 25% of the capacity of the church, Tom?
That's correct. Yeah. So 100 people, you allow 25, social distancing, 6 feet apart in the pews. So they're at 25% now at all houses of worship.
Okay.
Not going to be a problem in most churches.
Yeah. But I mean, I said, listen, I think St. Mary's still had theirs outside this past weekend. So now they'll be able to get back inside with a 25% occupancy.
Thank you, Tom. Any questions for Tom? Okay.
And so, you know, I mean, without the question, I will probably more than likely pick up the glass tomorrow for the building department and for the assessor's office and get that installed tomorrow.
Great.
So the glass will be there and ready to go for Monday's opening if that's where we're still planned for. But I'll have the glass probably installed tomorrow.
Okay. Thank you, Tom.
Thanks, Tom.
Thanks,
Yep.
Tom.
So, yeah, and everything's working out as far as we have the hand disinfectant at the punch clock or the hand finger pump, and we have it on. We have it distributed all over, and my office has the one that you put your hand underneath, and so yeah, I think we're doing very well. So we're protecting each other, wearing the masks and so forth. So I think we'll be ready for the 15th for the public, and maybe we'll talk about that again because Howard put out a plan. It's not required, but it's a good plan. So
I don't know how to explain it.
Talk about that later, right, Al?
yeah.
Okay.
Mark those 2 things down. You're going to talk about the trail and you're going to talk about plan open. So, police chief, Jerry?
Okay. Activity summary for the month of May 2020. Personal injury auto accidents 4, fatal accidents 0, property damage accidents 14 for a total of 18 for the month. Vehicle and traffic summonses issued 38, parking violations 1, blotter entries handled 1,208 with a total of 5 arrests for the month. We handled and processed 1,899 telephone calls. We've had no overtime for dispatchers, either part-time or full-time. We traveled 13,166 miles with a fuel consumption of 1,159.587 gallons. Just wanted to note, we will be working with the school district. Get my dates right. June 10th, which is this coming Wednesday, we will be assisting the elementary school with a 5th grader graduation motorcade. The way they have that set up is the parents will bring their student into the parking lot of the elementary school and drive through the parking lot. All the teachers by grades will be set up, wishing everybody well and good luck, and they'll be waving. There'll be social distancing going on.
I didn't say anything.
It's a good thing. That's 9:30 on Wednesday. 11:30, the similar thing is happening at the middle school. And on the 16th, a very similar thing happening for the high school as well. We'll be assisting with that. We're also going to be partaking in a meeting that's scheduled for Thursday to help the school figure out what they want to do for graduation for the high school. So as I learn more information about the high school graduation, the process that they decide they're going to take, I'll let you guys know how we are going to assist, if anyway. with that.
Chief, anything on the DARE program, or are we just eliminating that this year?
No, so Kirk did start DARE before COVID hit. What we've decided to do, and we've spoke with school admin about it, is hopefully if school opens up in September, pick up where the fifth graders left off in March in the sixth grade. Finish the DARE program so we could do a sixth grade moving up ceremony for them, hopefully in September, well, before Christmas probably, to complete out the fifth graders that were already graduated to sixth grade with their DARE program. That's the plan we have in place for now. Everybody's on board with it, but we have to see what happens in September with school.
Any questions for the chief?
Nope.
Nope.
All right. I want to thank you, Chief, for your time and your patience with the protesters and just overall how you handle and make them relaxed and make them confident about Marlborough and Marlborough Police Department and your crew. So I want to thank you for that.
Not a problem. I tell you, it's easy to do because I have complete confidence in our crew. I have complete confidence in our officers. The travesty that happened in Minneapolis would, in my opinion, with the officers we have today, would never happen here. I have complete faith in what they do and the decisions they make. They do a very good job of carrying my vision out and my desires, and I'm proud of them all. And I believe they're going to help us out with that, with the protest going on the 14th. And yet again, we'll be proud of everybody. Thank you.
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you.
Alan, would you like to read the Highway Superintendent's report?
Yeah. All right.
Can you
Here
see
we go.
you got your glasses on? Yeah.
Yeah, I've been wearing glasses for years to read. So, all right, here we go. Monthly report for May 2020. COVID-19. On 5/18, along with the Ulster County Highway Departments, the entire crew returned to working together again. On a positive note, members of the Highway and Police Departments have donated their time along with other local businesses to do drive-by celebrations for birthdays, anniversaries, and other requested occasions. On May 24th, 72 vehicles participated in a drive-by on 9W in honor of Memorial Day. This event was very well received by all residents. Roads, we continue preparing the roads that are to be paved this year. We spent 3 days doing repairs on Bailey's Gap and Upper Bailey's Gap, milling and blacktopping. Throughout the month, we continue to sweep both towns and sweep all cul-de-sacs. Drainage, during the month, we had crews cleaning ditch lines along Willow Tree Road. We continued cleaning catch basins and pipe ends where needed. We replaced 146 feet of 36-inch PVC pipe on Hampton Road and Rudavin, and replaced 80 feet of 12-inch PVC pipe at the intersection of Hampton and Bingham Roads in preparation for paving. Brush, weeds, we started mowing all roadsides throughout the town. On 5/21, we mowed the landfill cap. We also started using herbicide along the roads. Town parks, we sent trucks to Tilcon to pick up donated stone for the park. Hold on. Fuel usage, gas, 119.940 gallons, diesel, 1,290.810 gallons. Respectfully submitted, John Alonji, Highway Superintendent.
Thank you, Alan.
No problem.
Somebody like to read Charlie's?
I can do it, Al. I got it on my phone here.
Okay. Thank you, Brad. Appreciate it.
Just got to find him. Here he is. Okay. All right. Charlie Maggio, Water Superintendent, monthly report for May. Water consumption total 13.602 million gallons, which is daily usage of 453,400 compared to last month, 13.602 million gallons, usage of 453,400. Compared to a year ago, consumption was 16.9 million gallons for the month, which is a daily usage of 545,000 gallons. Summary for the month. Hydrants, we finished flushing and started weed whacking hydrants. Curb box, we had to move a valve box in front of 1326 Route 9W because of the old one being in new crosswalk. Reservoir, we started weed whacking and cleaning garbage. Billing, bills were mailed out. If you have any questions about your bill, feel free to give us a call. Sewer, we had to repair a manhole cover on the corner of Bloom Street and Route 9W. Service line inspection 0, closings 4, markouts 40, gallons of gas 250 gallons, 0 gallons of diesel, miles for the month 1,450 miles. And that's it.
Thank you very much, Ed.
You're welcome, Al.
Colleen?
Okay, Town Clerk Monthly Report for May 2020. Dog licenses 21 for a total of $125. Transfer station permits 4 for $255. Punch cards 23 for $1,775. Building department fees 1 for $4,348.90. Fire fees 1 for $1,825. Accident reports 7 for $35. Certified copies 4 for $140. Oil requests 1 for $25. Junkyard licenses 1 for $250 for a grand total of $8,778.90.
Thank you, Colleen. Any questions for Colleen? Okay, I'll do the Marlborough Wastewater Treatment Plant. Average daily flow is 116,000 gallons per day, about 66% of design capacity. Average BOD removal is 98%. Average suspended solid removal is 93%. Milton, average daily flow is 28,000 gallons per day, about 51% of design capacity. Average BOD removal is 98%. Average suspended solids removal is 95%. Both Marlborough and Milton plants operated normally during the month of May. We are finally finished with painting the Milton plant roof and are happy with its final condition. It looks great. If you have a chance when you take a ride down, it looks really good. Next project at Milton will be to repaint in the interior structure of the building. The metal frame has become rusty and will need to be primed and painted. Please feel free to contact us at any time. Stay safe and be healthy. And that's from Julian Falco, Water Quality Management. Thank you very much, Julian. Okay, moving right along. Somebody want to do dog control?
I got it.
All right.
All right, Town of Morrow Dog Control for the monthly report of May. Overview, we received a total of 41 calls this month, including 16 calls to service from the Marlborough PD, State Police, and Ulster County Sheriff. Responded to 8 active complaints and our cases which are now closed or resolved. We currently have 2 open cases that have been addressed but are ongoing and unresolved. 0 parent tickets were issued this month. We impounded 1 dog. There were 0 dog bites reported this month. We currently have 1 dog in the kennel. We have 0 cases in the Marlborough Justice Court at this time. We are still having a higher than usual number of calls for dogs running at large. Please keep your dog on a leash. There are a large number of calls related to wild animals this month as well. And that's the end of the report from Andrew McKee.
Thank you very much, Scott. Appreciate it. And there's been a lot of bear sightings in Marlborough.
Yep.
Every year.
Just so everybody's aware, there was a bear that was wandering around town headquarters today, wandered up into the park. I'm sure it'll make its way back to the river. Probably received 50, 60 calls on it today. The supervisor and myself went out to try and go find it, but it ran away before we could see
You guys gonna lasso it?
it. We just want to pet it.
I had one on my back porch like 2 years ago. And like I said, when people say they're more scared of you than you are of them, that's incorrect. I was very scared. Very scared.
All right, so moving along, assessors report. Grievance Day was held on Tuesday, May 26, 2020. The board heard 27 applications, of which 14 were from a property tax consultant from Suffolk County. He files numerous grievance in every town in Ulster County. The board held their deliverance on Wednesday, June 27th. Notices of determinations will be mailed out towards the middle of June. I wonder who that is. I don't know who that is, who frequently does that, but I guess they do it.
It must be,
You must get a certain percentage if they are successful. But knowing our board, they have to really have a good case. So moving along, planning, Chris Brand, Howard?
Planning Board review, May 2020. Meeting on May 18th, approval for the above minutes was granted unanimously. First on the agenda was David and Susan Young. Public hearing was open and closed with limited participation from the public. Questions arose regarding the collection of recreation fees. As the proposed subdivision spans 2 municipalities, it was agreed upon the town of Marlborough should collect these fees as all proposed and existing dwellings are within the town of Marlborough. A neighbor raised concerns about water runoff from the site. Pat Hines will provide an analysis and report. A negative declaration was approved unanimously for the project. Applicant will return at a later date. Next one was Smith Subdivision, First Street in Marlborough. A resolution for a third extension of the project was approved in light of the ongoing difficulties created by the COVID-19 pandemic. Third item was Marlborough Flats, 8 through 10 Watson Avenue, Milton. Sketch subdivision. Engineer Pat Hines pointed out several technical issues with the proposed map, including the depiction of the 4 proposed parking spaces on site, the need for a common driveway maintenance agreement, roadway dedication, and water service details. The applicant will return at a later date after addressing these issues. And that's it. Chris Brand.
Oh, you got it easy.
Yep, got it easy.
I think they
Sure.
canceled one. I know they did.
Yep.
So let's move on to the report of committees, Recreation Committee. So maybe this is a good time, would you think, Howard, to talk about what we're doing with the trail?
Well, I think I sent you guys an email, maybe with some pictures. So you know about the grant. We couldn't submit the grant because the Greenway shut down grant applications for now. So I think in preparation for that grant, it forced us to have a good solid plan for what we wanted to do. When we found out we couldn't submit an application, really.
Ed,
Sorry.
Tony Falco took the bull by the horns and began using a skid steer to create the trails that we had envisioned. And he did a fantastic job. And part of that trail creation was digging out all the garbage that was strewn all over the place, tires, refrigerators, pickup truck beds, you name it. It was all over the place. So we got Lamella to donate a 30-yarder. They did. Tony got that all in the 30-yarder with the help of the town highway department. So we took 7.33 tons of garbage out of there. Al lined up Tilcon to give us some item 4, I think 67 tons, something like that.
120.
I'll call you when I'm done, right?
Yeah, 120 yards, right. And so that has all been put down thanks to the highway department. They first graded the ground, then put the item forward, spread that all nicely. So we have a driveway down, a parking lot down there for 6 to 8 cars. So that all looks very nice. We have rough trails. You can walk them pretty easily. So now what we're focused on is markers for the trails, and we have the kiosk, which you guys approved, the buying of the materials for that, and that'll be put up shortly. So kiosk, trail markers, more mulch. We're getting mulch for the trails as much as we can. So I think the plan would be, and again, Tony Falco is the driving force behind this, and has done 99% of the work, is to maybe open it up to the public by the end of the summer. And if all goes as planned. So it's, we didn't get the grant. We were going to ask for half of 75,000, and we didn't get it. So we just sort of went ahead and did it as best we can. It's not as nice as maybe we would have gotten with a paid grant, but it's pretty nice. It's pretty nice.
No, I think it's really good. I took a walk down there Sunday. It was great. And Dave Zambito, who dropped off a couple of loads of mulch, He took a walk. He said he was very impressed. So it's a nice loop. It's not really short. It's a nice loop. And there's a couple of loops there that Tony established. So thanks to yourself, Matt Kirsten, the Highway Department, Mr. Alonji, and Mr. Lamella donating the roll-off. Tilcon, I think we have the makings of a great product, the first trail in Marlborough. And so the vision is with Tony is to go further. And I think it's just absolutely fantastic. I think it's going to be a great asset to the town. I know it is. And so that being said, I'm just overwhelmed by the volunteerism, and especially with Tony and Lee Falco and his Julian and Roger, who works for Tony. They really took the horns of the bull and really did a great job. So it's Marlborough. It's a community. So everybody pitches in, and it's before you know it, it's done. So yeah, great job. And yourself, Howard, thank you very much for all the work you've done.
It's one positive aspect of the COVID pandemic in that it freed Tony Falco up to do all this stuff. So he was looking for something to do. So Tim Lawton wants to speak.
Tim.
Unmute yourself, Tim.
Just saying good night. I'm sorry. We have company downstairs and I need to go be a good host. So thank you very much for letting me speak. Happy Pride. Thank you, Marlborough Town Board.
Thank you.
Hey, Tim, have a good night.
Say hello to Rob for us.
Will do.
And Mike. Okay, anything on emergency management preparedness?
No, still the same.
Okay. As you know, the CAC hasn't done anything, haven't met because of the COVID. IT committee, thank you, Scott. Everything seems to be running well. The committee, I mean, the printers, the copiers are working well. We have to just get the BAS, is it? BSA, BAS?
BAS. Yeah.
But I think it's working. It's working. She's doing a great job. So
Yeah, there's a few bugs that Danny's got to work out with BAS, but for the most part, he said he's pretty much done. So
yeah, it's all good. The train station, the foundation, we haven't met because of the COVID. Milton Land and Citizens Committee. Alan, I see the beautiful flowers in Milton.
Yeah, I think I said, a couple weeks ago, Vivian and the volunteers put out the flowers. They look great. Landing, one thing I could report on the landing, it's been busy almost every single day. And this weekend it was packed. It was great. It was probably 20 to 30 cars a day in there, and everybody was staying socially distanced, stay with families, but people are really enjoying the place.
So we can mention probably, Alan, about Arden starting in July. With the building of the South Pier. I don't know if they actually, Tom, do you know if they put in for a building permit yet?
Finally I talked to him today, so it should be emailed me when I get in the office tomorrow. They finally reached out to me today, though.
Okay. Thank you very much, Tom. Alan?
Yeah, they were supposed to be starting a little bit of late work in June, weren't they?
Yes.
Towards the end of
Fencing
June. I
off
was
and
down
stuff
there
like
this
that.
morning. There was nothing going on.
Yeah, I was down there too. I went down there, but I'm glad they're doing the permit process with Tom. So
yeah,
that's a good thing. So
Marlborough Hamlet Economic Development Committee, we met, me, Howard, and Will Hughes. Unfortunately, everybody's pretty busy, so we had a nice chat, and hopefully we'll get everybody back on board. Especially the two young guys that run the bricks. They have a lot of great ideas. I just talked to them the other day. They're just full of ideas what could happen in Marlborough. So we're moving on. Meet Me in Marlborough. Howard, you got a lot of things going on. Talking to Meet Me in Marlborough with Sheila and
Sheila's on, I think. The two things that were kind of active right now is one, the adding some links to our town website from the the Meet Me in Marlborough website, and Danielle and Sheila have been talking, and I think we have a good understanding of what Sheila wants, and I think Danielle's going to work on something that'll please everybody, and that should be done soon. The second thing was a request from Meet Me in Marlborough regarding some videos that they're making. I sent you guys an email today with some short videos that are on the Meet Me in Marlborough Facebook page, really cool ones. One is Steve Clark, or not Steve, but Brad Clark. The other one was Comparetto's Bakery, and I think the idea is to build on those, and I'll let Sheila speak in a minute, but build on those to create a bigger video that would be comparable to something that Dutchess County has put together. And I think I sent you a link to that video as well. I probably haven't had a chance to look at it, but anyway, they are working on some videos that will promote agritourism in the town, and the request from Meet Me in Marlborough is to maybe help them a little bit offset some of the costs for that. And I think the request is around $350, something like that. So those are the two most immediate things that I can think of. Sheila, is that right?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. Did you want to add anything?
I just want to explain the videos. There's several videos going on. We're trying to finish up a video that actually started almost 3 years ago, a lot of aerial. So we're hoping to get that resolved, which will be sort of what you're talking about, Howard, more of an agritourism video. With the videos that we've been doing with Comparetto's and Brad, is we're really trying to focus on the businesses, and we're trying to really go with supporting local. We're hoping that the gentleman that's doing this is that he's going to do segments. So he's also done Frank's, and he's also done the wine store, and we're working our way through to take all of them and put something together similar to Think Dutchess was the link. So hopefully if you take a look at that, and to showcase what we have in Marlborough as a whole. So the industries, the businesses, the civic groups, it's everything. And we're hoping that we could achieve that. So, and we have a third video, which thank you, Al. Al let me record him. We are working on a video to showcase that Meet Me in Marlborough, the town of Marlborough, and Ulster County Tourism is partnering up to support local. And I think this is really important right now, and always has been. So I'm very happy to have this finally get off the ground.
So I don't know if you guys have had a chance to look at those videos. I just saw them today.
I did.
They're pretty cool.
Yeah, very cool.
And
Very well done.
especially the one in the bakery. And so maybe you want to think about it a little bit, and we can bring it up at the next meeting, or maybe you're okay with. Do I have the amount correct, Sheila? Is that what?
Well, what we're trying, yes, what we're trying to do, the gentleman that's doing it is really volunteering his time, but it's a huge amount of time to make that one video of Comparetto's. He took a tremendous amount of footage and he had to edit it, and they do get expensive. So we have two people who are trying to put their time in, and we're trying to give back. And due to the fact that we did not run a membership a good portion of this year, you know, we're trying to really step up and help our community. So we're, you know, asking for help if possible.
So what's the feeling of the board? I think the amount was like $350, right?
Mm-hmm.
The original amount. I mean, how does the board feel about that? You want to think about it? I have no problem, but I'd like to hear what the rest of the board. It kind of showcases the town of Marlborough, showcases the ag, everything that we're interested in as a town board. If in the indication of what the video looks like of the two videos I saw, it's very compelling, and it's very it's a great video, and whoever's doing it is very talented. So I don't know if these guys want to table it for next time. You want to think about it. It's up to you.
Al?
Yeah. Sure.
I just want to say the gentleman who's doing it has been doing this for 30 years. He is a professional, and he does this in the city and up here. So I just wanted to make sure. And if you look at the videos, we're making sure that we put in there that we're partnering, and it's anything we go to do that we're mentioning the town of Marlborough, meaning you guys, not just the town as a whole. So
I don't have a problem with it, Al.
Okay, you want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion that we expend the $350 to help Meet Me in Marlborough with the video course.
I'll second.
I got a second, all in favor?
All right.
Thank
So
you.
moved.
Thank you.
So we'll talk
Sure.
tomorrow, and we'll talk to Chris.
Appreciate all you do, Sheila.
Oh, well, no, thank you, guys. Just share what we're putting out there. That's the main thing we're asking everybody is take what we're doing. We have a couple of pages on Facebook too. Please take a look at. We're trying to document this year's agricultural season. We're going to be putting some other things up there, what's made in Marlborough, produced in Marlborough. So we're trying.
And before we leave, Sheila, we are
Yes.
going to have the farmer's market. That is going to start later in June.
Yes.
You are going to follow all the guidelines that Cornell and others have.
Yeah, we're putting a plan together on the farmer's market site. We've already put about all the what's been given to us from basically Cornell and the New York State Farmers Market Federation, all their recommendations. I'm gonna have some signs made up. I'm trying to think about how to direct the traffic. So people come in one way, go out another way, social distancing I've been getting some feedback. We had an ag meeting, which was very nice, and all the ag members kind of shared their ideas and gave a good perspective on how everybody's moving forward, which, by the way, I'm sorry, I don't want to get off track, but all that information I'm trying to keep up on our local directory. Let's face it together. Anytime somebody gets their new hours or operation, that's being updated regularly. But back to the market, you know, they've given down at the Green Market how they're spacing everybody out and keeping the vendors and the customers a safe social distance away. And they're going to be sanitation stations. I'm going to have some hand sanitizer on each end. So yeah, we're going to try the best we can.
And that some of the pick your owns will be opening, I think, in a week or two when the strawberries come out too. So they have to deal with all this as well, but they are going to try. And they
Yeah.
expect the demand to be pretty high, I think.
Yes, yes. And they've also been putting a plan in action, pre-packing stuff and marking directions, I believe, and all that. I think that some of the wineries are putting where you make reservations now. So again, I'm trying to take that information and put it on the local directory as soon as I get it or I see it. So try to look at that. All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sheila.
Thank you.
Sheila.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, Hammond and Milton Association Committee. I
Kind of
think,
talked about the flowers are out, so.
yeah. So I think Cindy was down at Vivian's. She has a little gift shop there going, and Cindy said it was really great to see Vivian, and she went in there and looked at it, and she said she'd be back with the crew. So that's another plus, another business, part of a business that's opening. And I think Vivian is planning also on reopening. So that being said, transfer station, I don't think we've made any moves on a transfer station. I don't think, what does the committee feel? Is it keep it the way it is until the end of June? See what happens?
Yeah.
That would be
Yeah,
my
keep
feeling.
running it the way it's been running, my
Is
feeling.
the way it's running, yeah.
I'll try to get up there and talk to Larry this Saturday and see what he thinks. But
Okay.
leave it alone for now.
So on the old business, of course, we're waiting on the 3 member items from Scott Titles, Jacobson, and our friend Senator Skoufis. Didn't anticipate hearing anything this soon, but hopefully it'll be a year in November. We also have another grant that Senator Skoufis brought to light from Senator Larkin before he left. There was some confusion about the $50,000 per car. Myself and Chief Kukosa filled that out. We sent that out about the same time as we sent out for the 375 from Senator Skoufis and the 175 for Assemblyman Jacobson. My first day back at work my concern was the $225,000 that the town of Marlborough just shelled out, paid for the extension of the second phase of the 9W sewer, which went up to Mr. Porco, or whoever bought it from Mr. Porco. And so there's 3 people that are thinking about, hopefully they will hook up, and I just sent them all the data on the grinder they need, and that's Mr. McManus, the Vinny from Encore, and also Mr. Porco. That being said, LWRP is in the hands of the state, right, Howard? Thanks to Danielle and Colleen, everything was sent up. I appreciate it. Thank you very much, ladies. Great job, as always. The water district improvement, there's nothing on that. So I don't have any other old business on the agenda. If anybody has any, we could talk about it. But
I'm wondering if Mark Reynolds wants to ask a question. I see him lighting up a little bit. Sorry to interrupt you, but I guess not.
No, he could.
He muted?
He's on 13. He could do the public comments.
Okay. Sheila, I'm going to mute you for the time being because I hear some background noise over there.
Okay. So we did get one bid from Green Lumber. I'm going to ask the board to refuse that bid. We were talking in the range before the bid of $40,000 for the timber from the reservoir and from up at the transfer station. Unfortunately, the bid came in at around $33,000 shy of what we anticipated. And the reason for that was that the market took a nosedive. Red oak is right now is not in demand, and China's not buying too much red oak. At one point, about a month ago, when I talked to them, the demand came back, and that's how I guess finicky the timber industry is. So I would make a motion, if somebody can, or I can make a motion that we decline the RFP for the timber RFP from Green Timber. So until further date, when we are notified that the timber market has gone up, and that's the price we were looking for is $40,000.
Did you make that motion now? Are you making
I
that?
can
But
make.
then we're going to have to go through the whole bid process again, correct?
Yeah, then there's only one person that'll bid. So it's the same person unless somebody else would like to, do an application for the RFP. But the RFP is already done. It's not going to cost the town any legal fees except for just changing some dates and put it in the paper again.
And they weren't willing to negotiate or look at their price, and we
No,
let
I
them know that
talked to them,
what our
and
expectations were.
Unfortunately, Alan, we were in the midst of, $40,000 was when I did the RFP, hoping that the individual who actually bid on the RFP, that was the amount that they would put in. But unfortunately, they didn't, because once I talked to them, I talked to our attorney, it was like the market just fell, and they couldn't do it at 40,000, so it was 33. And so I asked the lawyer, could I refuse the bid, and said absolutely. Just make
But so where did we come up with the $40,000? Was that your expectation, or was that the
That was the
bidders?
expectation before, but since the individual that did all the work and marking all the trees, we come to a negotiation. It was like 37. I said, could you do 40? And they said yes. And then the COVID hit and everything else hit. And then we forgot about it for a while. And then you brought it up, Alan, Councilman Koenig. And so I called them up again, and they said, well, the market's back in all transparency. And I said, well, our lawyer says we have to do an RFP. They said, fine. So we went out and we did the board, we did a resolution, and we did a public hearing, public advertisement for the RFP. And unfortunately, when the bid came in, he put it down as 33,000. called him back up. I said, you know, we were anticipating 40. I know you're not committed to it, but I'd like an explanation. And he said, well, to be honest with you, the market just, you know, fell apart on red oak, and most of your product is red oak. So that's when I called our attorney up, and he said he refused the bid. And then when things occur where things get better, then you could do an RFP, and hopefully you'll have the same bidder and maybe some other people look at it. So that's the giddy up. That's the story.
I would second your motion, I guess.
Well, yeah. You can't guess.
How long is this?
You got a second, or you don't have to second it.
I'll second it.
Okay. So,
Allard, you're gonna call them and tell them, or would you like me to call tomorrow and tell them?
I think they're aware of it already, Colleen.
Okay.
So when I got the bid, then I called him up, and this is in reference to why it was not to my expectation. And he explained to me it was about the price falling in the timber, especially red oak.
Okay.
And the Chinese are not buying red oak right now. A couple of explanations. So I'm on representing the town of Marlborough, and you know, the board. I said, you know, basically I'll bring it up to the board, but to be shy of 7,000 is quite a bit, and I think we're just gonna decline your offer.
No.
So I need I made the motion. Howard Baker second. I need all in favor.
Aye.
Aye.
All right, so move. I'll keep you abreast if things change, and then we'll just bang it out and do another RFP. And I think you agree, 7,000 is a little less than we really anticipated, $40,000. And so moving along, I have down the COVID-19 phase 2, which Tom covered pretty good. I don't know if anybody has any other.
I wanted to ask Al just on the opening on the 15th, and I did fill out.
Right, we were going to explain that, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's still some questions. It's Tommy just updated us on the plexiglass and all that, and thank you for taking care of that. Main question seems to be, are we going to have, when we open for the public, they come into the building, we're going to ask them to sign a sign-in log or something like that. I don't know if it's required. And the other question is, are we going to take people's temperature? We're not even doing that for our own staff at this point, I don't think. So I don't think we're going to do that for the public. And if we're going to do that for the public, who's going to do it? Those are the kinds of questions that I think are the hardest to answer at this point. But the log, the sign-in log, I don't think should be too hard. If we could put it on a table and people could do it and sign in and sign out, and that doesn't seem like a big deal, but the temperature taking is a big deal, I think.
What's the point of that? If they just sign in, I mean.
You have a log of who's been in and out, and you
It's
can.
for the tracing.
Contact tracing.
Contract
That's
tracing.
what it's for.
Okay.
Yeah.
So without asking them if they've been in contact with anybody that had COVID-19, it doesn't really matter what their history is, if they, you know.
And then somebody
Al, what
puts
it comes down to is if somebody in our staff has COVID and they report it, they can say, who are you in contact with? You can be like, well, I was contacting people at town hall. Who? There's a log. So like if I had it and talked to 20 people, they would contact those 20 people.
So the log, I'm not objected to the log. I don't know. I was waiting for Roseanne from the school to give us, see what they were doing, but I haven't.
Okay, I'll try to call Roseanne tomorrow. I think they're probably busy with some other things, which is another topic maybe, but I'll try to call her tomorrow and get a clarification on what they're doing, and I'll let you know.
Yeah, I don't think they're in any hurry to open for the public. I mean, I think we're going to open on the 15th, and we're going to be
right there.
In regards to calling the school, I know we share a building, but we're a separate entity. And Tom, I think you can agree with me on this, is the tracking is a very big part of going to be the next phase if there is a second breakout. So the tracking is going to be huge. They're hiring people to actually track now.
Right. So it's a responsibility that we should take on. So signing in, I think, is essential because, again, whether it's one of us getting it or somebody who walks in the building eventually gets it, who did they have contact in our office with?
Right.
So that's the signing in. It's not very difficult.
So
How
that
about
would be a
the temperature taking? What's the feeling of the board on the temperature taking? The sign-in is a no-brainer, I guess.
The temperature taking thing, I actually looked at to see if there are actually wall-mounted temperature takers. Like you can just walk up, stand on two footprints on the ground and have it either hit your forehead or your face and take your temperature. I can't find one. I don't know who's going to point the thing at somebody's head and take their temperature. I don't know.
I don't know either. That's
Is it necessary?
Yeah, because I don't want anybody from our to come out and do that. I mean, I don't think that.
Yeah, that's a responsibility I don't want to put on somebody.
Yeah.
Scott, what do you think? You have experience in, I know you guys do.
I can tell you they're very inaccurate from every time I come in the building, they're not accurate. They have to sometimes put people to the side and tell them to cool down for 3 minutes, and then they rescan them and they go in. So it's kind of like, why are we doing this if it's just gonna,
Right.
and then the summer's coming, you walk in, it's hot, you're gonna probably read higher. And that's what's the problem with those scanners. And we even got a new, like Alan said, we have a very good scanner that is off the wall now. It's off a computer, and even that's not consistent. You know, they spent a lot of money on the system, but it doesn't work very well.
And we're not going to go there when we have the handheld ones. And who's going to do that? Who's going to?
Yeah,
that's the problem. The handheld ones, you'd have to hire someone. But then the problem is, you hired somebody, and then they're at risk of getting it if someone has it, right? So
I think if we just stick to the hand gel and the logbook, I think we're being very socially responsible, and that's where we should stay.
Yeah, and the signs that you're not going to be, you have to have your mask on, and I think that all those precautions are. I mean,
Ed, what do you
Danielle
think?
and Colleen, you're on that front desk there. What do you think?
That's all we're doing at the car dealership now. We're opening up tomorrow, and it's a hand sanitizer, make sure everybody has a mask, and they can't walk in if they don't have a mask. I mean, that's basic.
If you put a table,
Again, I don't feel that taking someone's temperature falls underneath the job responsibilities of the town clerk or her assistant.
Oh, no, I'm not saying that. I'm asking them about their whole feeling about the whole thing, because they're the first ones that, when people come through that door, because we're going to have the other door locked with the public, they're going to see them at the first thing. And so I'm asking,
Danielle and I were speaking
their feeling about being safe. I'm just wondering, how they feel about it.
Go ahead, Colleen.
Danielle and I were speaking about this during the day today, because Howard had brought it up while he was on the phone with Danielle. We were thinking, if you did have a table with a book and we were able to see somebody come in, sometimes we can't, especially now it's tax time for us. We're finishing up our taxes. So, if we're busy looking down at our books and checking everything, we might not have time to, my dog, sorry.
It's not my dog.
In my house, my dog barks when somebody comes in the house. But anyway, if there's a table set up there with masks and hand sanitizers and a book, we will obviously do our best to make sure that these people are aware that it's there and to sign in and do stuff. But we can't guarantee that we're going to see everybody coming in, is what I'm saying.
Right.
But
I think if we put it close enough to the entrance with a sign, please sign,
Right.
So
Please sign in.
logistically, the table should be close enough so you guys could see them and they could sign the book and make
And
sure.
yeah, that's fine.
And I would also adjust the language. I know Danielle, me being polite, please sign in. No, sign in's mandatory.
Right.
Right,
You know,
right.
yeah,
We'll,
you know what I
we'll do
mean?
something
For
like
your
that.
safety and ours, please sign
Right.
in.
I would
before
just say
entering the building.
sign in's mandatory.
Yeah.
Right.
Or you don't come in,
Yeah.
period.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the rule.
Didn't Rosanna say that they were going to work on the signs, or?
Yes.
Well, they're not planning on opening as soon as we are, from what.
I know,
they
but
said.
they committed to doing signs, so I want to make sure we have the signs before the 15th. If they're not going to do it, then we'll do it.
And we can have it done up at True Value, or somebody can do it for us.
Oh, yeah. But I just want to make sure that when the signs are there.
Al, are you going to be in the office tomorrow? I won't be able to talk to her until noon or afternoon tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll be in the office. I'll go in
Yes.
and chat with her.
The other thing I wanted to add, this is a real detail, but Jerry, you said you take your gloves off. All the gloves you collect in a red bag at the end of the day.
Gloves and masks that we use, we We've taken a garbage bucket and we've converted it to a red bag holder. And we put all that stuff in a red bag and we will appropriate dispose of it
Mhm.
when we get enough of it.
How do you suggest, do we need to do that upstairs? And how do you suggest we do that? If we
Well,
think-
they're gonna bring their own mask, right? They're gonna wear their own mask. And we're
Hopefully.
gonna have the
Yeah,
hand
what should we
sanitizer, so-
supply?
If they don't, we'll have to have a box there where they'll have to just, hopefully
Yeah.
just take one.
That-
Yeah, the public, but I'm talking about our staff, that they have to wear gloves, that they want to throw their gloves away. And yes, the public too. Are we gonna require a red bag?
Provide.
Oh, man.
I don't think there's a need for a red bag disposal. That's just something we did. I mean, makes sense to me that it's face masks. To be honest with you, we could have a centralized, in each office, they could dedicate a can. Even at the police department, even though we're wearing them quite often, we haven't filled a bag yet. So it's really not gonna be that much red bag waste. So if every office dedicated one garbage can to this type of product, masks and gloves, I even think once a week to empty it, we wouldn't generate a lot of trash that we'd have to worry about.
We don't-
Very
We
expensive.
don't dedicate
as
anything
possible.
at our job. I just let you know, we don't dedicate any kind of garbage, extra disposal for that kind of stuff. It's just, it's all placed in the normal garbage.
I want to make it as simple as possible in this
I
way.
agree with you.
Even flow, get them in, get them out. Make sure they wear their mask, make sure they have the hand sanitizer. And, Joe does a great job. We have to make sure when they leave that the handles are clean, stuff like that. We have to work with Joe on that, so.
I mean, most people aren't gonna be, they're not taking their mask off and they shouldn't be
No.
taking their gloves off, so there shouldn't be the need to remove stuff.
And even
Okay.
so, we're not performing surgeries and we're not gonna have blood waste or anything that we have to be concerned about. That's
Right.
just something we call it red bag disposal because we actually use a red bag only because I want to be specific and where my guys threw their stuff.
Okay.
You have to remember, Joe's not in my office every day. So we run the weekend. So we had to be careful. So that's the only reason we did it. And I'm not suggesting the town has to do it.
We're not gonna do it then.
And I don't think you need to. Exactly. I don't think you need to.
Question for
Jerry, how do we
Colleen.
how are you doing with supplies, Jerry?
Good. We're in a very good space. The
Next
only
step.
thing I could use more of is the Clorox wipes. We don't have a ton of that, but we're doing very well with masks, gloves.
Where do you get your gloves from, Jerry?
Well, we have a supplier, the guy that does the aspirin, what do you call those medical boxes? we have?
Dispensers.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That gentleman, so he's limited. If we were a customer before buying gloves, we can buy gloves now. But if I would have went to him, not buying gloves from him ever, he couldn't sell them to us. So with all the COVID going on, that's the rules he put in place. So since we were a prior customer and we were already buying our gloves from him, I just doubled my orders.
I'm just having trouble finding gloves. That's what I was asking you that for.
So as far as the table with the sign-in book and the gloves and masks and hand sanitizer, who's gonna set that up?
I will. I'll have it up by Friday.
Thank you, sir.
I'll set one up. You're talking about Colleen's office, correct?
In front of her office.
Wherever you think's appropriate there.
First walk in.
I'll set it up in that lobby. I'll also take care of the supervisor's office. We talked about putting that table there by the copier. I'll
Yes.
also make sure that that's established and up by Friday as well.
And who's
I
gonna?
think we're gonna put the rope, right? So people know,
Rope, table, whatever you guys decide. But
yeah,
I'll put
because
that-
people use the copier. And,
Jerry's gonna use a table. I think you're gonna use a table, right, Jerry?
Yeah, the table behind the copier, yeah.
That's what I thought. This way
Oh,
you
okay.
can put hand
That's fine.
sanitizer and wipes and stuff on it. It's
That's
still get out of
fine.
the way. So whatever you guys want.
That's good, Jerry. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. That's a great idea.
Hey, Tommy.
I don't know that we have to do any type of marking on the floor for 6 feet. I don't think we're gonna have tons of people.
I was
We
gonna
don't
ask,
have any major tax collection won't begin again until January, but I don't know how the school's gonna do it in September. We'll talk about that, I guess, in the future, but Colleen, we don't have anything coming up where
No, just
There's gonna be a
water
ton of
bill
people
time.
coming in,
Water
water
bills.
bills.
That's
So
the
how
main-
are we gonna handle?
Well, I think
there
we could
4
do it
people
with
come
signage, right? We could do it right from the beginning so they know the social distancing is 6 feet. So I'll talk to Roseanne tomorrow, make sure that we have that, so this way they do know that
Mhm.
if there's a line, that there should be 6 feet. I'm gonna put markings
But,
on it for,
If they come in for
The
water
tape on-
bills, though, if we have one person come in, then a second person will probably need to wait outside
right,
Yeah,
until they're done.
yeah.
That's the signage you gotta put on the front door, only
Yeah.
one person in the
lobby
main
at a
lobby
time.
at a time.
Right,
well,
right.
just
all
one
at the
person
office.
at our window at a time, that's all. All others will stay outside until the next person is ready to leave.
Colleen, when they come in to pay their water bill, are they actually physically writing the check in front of you or just handing you the check?
It depends. Sometimes, yeah, and sometimes they don't have their bill, so then they'll have to go to Tina and then come back to pay us. But the cash is what's gonna be the problem, because me
Okay.
and Danielle are planning on keeping our window closed at this time and then
Yeah.
having everybody shove it through the side there.
Okay.
And I don't think feel comfortable right now taking cash that way, so I don't know if we could just tell them maybe checks only at this time, or go get a money order. But
If that's how you feel and you feel safe that way, I don't think that's an unfair check or money order. I mean,
Do you
you
get much?
don't have a
people
checking
that-
account, you can get a money order.
yeah,
Do you get much people that use, that's?
yeah,
use cash?
yes,
So maybe,
unfortunately.
can you have envelopes there? They could just put the cash in the envelope?
Well, what
Should
we
have to
do is
count it.
count it. We have to, we
Use
always
gloves?
count our money in front of them at the same time. So they could just give us an envelope and say there's $100 and it can only, be $90 in it.
Yeah.
So we
Yeah, but-
don't ever not take the money and count it in front of the
Right, so
person.
you could count it using your gloves, right? And then dispose your gloves.
I guess. We'll see.
Okay. What do you play by?
They
I
could
don't
put it
know.
in the envelope and slide it through, I think is what he meant.
No, I understand. I'm just saying
Oh,
about
okay.
the money at the moment. I don't know about
Yeah.
Who's gonna be
accepting money at this time.
Well, money, checks, anything that you receive over the counter, you should have your gloves on, right?
Yeah, well,
It's
with the
protocol.
checks, will we just take it, like I said, through the thing? It's a lot different than taking a wad of
Yeah, but
cash.
unfortunately, if you touch it and the virus is on it, it's not good.
Yeah,
So-
well, I opened up a stack of mail probably this high today, so I was constantly washing and
We got
sanitizing.
plenty of gloves, so you could always use the gloves.
So who was the signage maven? Who's gonna take care of all the signs?
Well,
Yeah.
speaking of signs, I think Cindy has a very nice printer that she can print giant signs if we just come up with the verbiage that we want. Unless you're looking for professional signs, then I think True Value can do stuff like that.
Yeah.
If we're putting them on the windows, we can
It's
tape
not
them
gonna
to
be
the
a problem.
inside.
I'll be on the signs tomorrow
Okay.
and talking to Roseanne, so the signs won't be a problem. The
Okay.
question is that it'll probably be, I'm thinking it should be, the clerk will see the people that are gonna go. Most of the time, they go either to the clerk for their water bills at this particular time, or they'll come and see Tom. We'll have the Tom, and it's gonna have the shielding, or the assessor's office, they'll have the shielding, so they're protected. So I guess the person, the gatekeeper actually is where the front door is the clerk's office. So they should sign and then go to whatever department that they want to go to. So let's try it out, see what happens. We'll put the door, the chief will put it in a strategic place with all the proper gear, and we'll move from there.
And I'm gonna harp on this and ask for this, and I asked before, the mask thing should be mandatory and the verbiage should say mandatory.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
what's
sure.
going on, and I'm seeing on social media, is people are walking into the stores where it says, please wear a mask, and they're
Yeah.
saying it's my right not to wear one. No, our rules are you wear one. So
Good.
Correct.
I
So it
I
goes
got
to
the
that.
message, Alan. That'll be definitely, on it. A lot of places have no mask, no service too,
Right.
So I think that's the way the board would like to go as far as opening up to the public on the 15th. If you don't have a mask, then you can't come in. Or we'll have a mask right there for you if you like. We'll have gloves right there for you. When you leave,
Yes.
you could dispose the gloves in the bucket there, sanitize your hand, off you go.
Okay, sounds like we
Only
got
self-fitting. Huh?
a plan. Sounds like we got pretty much a plan, unless
Yeah.
somebody has another comment.
Right. I mean, the whole thing is to protect our employees, so I think that's the first thing, and the public. So we'll move forward with that. Any more discussion on the opening on the 15th? And it'll still be 9 to 2, right? Until we
Yep.
further notice that the board would like to change it to a full-time and move forward.
Yep.
So thank you for that. Thank you, Howard. Thank you, board.
Thank you.
I don't have any correspondence. Does anybody that's on the Zoom have any public comments? Any public comments?
I would like to make a public comment.
James Garofalo. How are you, James?
Good, thank you. One is a question. The outdoor dining, is that a permit from the building department?
Tom?
No, outdoor dining doesn't require the permit unless they're going to use the public sidewalks. But if they are to use the public sidewalks, they'll go through Al's office. I have them on my desk. He'll have them tomorrow morning. It's a basic form. The applicant fills out who's the owner, what's the address, submit us a layout of what you're proposing. And as long as it's nothing extreme, then the town would have no objection.
Have you had any requests yet, Tom?
Frida's has called me, basically wanted to know the process on it, and I told her what it was. And again, she has outdoor dining available on the deck outside, which is fine. Again, they'll have to basically police themselves or call the liquor authority, because the liquor authority has certain rules and regulations on serving liquor.
Mhm.
If it's off the back deck and there's no way to get out except for through the business, then there's no additional permit required. But if it's off the front porch or on the town sidewalk, there is additional requirements by the liquor authority. I'm not up on the liquor authority's licensing, but I know there is other things required. It goes through the police chief. That he has to sign off on some. Jerry knows a little bit more than I do, but again, I just made them know what has to happen. So if Bricks decides the kids want to do something, as long as they stay within where they are, they have a little porch where there's like 2 tables, 3 tables, they're good. If they want to submit to get onto the sidewalk, then they have to submit to us a layout. And then Al would take a look at it. I would take a look at it, and we'd say, it's fair, 3, 4 tables, but you're not going to go from all the way down.
But in that situation, could they go on the sidewalk in front of some other property, or it has to be in front of their property?
Well, they could go, again, the sidewalk is a public sidewalk.
Right.
So again, that's why it's submitted to the town. And I believe, again, obviously as business friendly as we are, as long as it's reasonable, we're probably going to sign off on it. Again,
Okay.
if he's going to want, let's say, and again, I'm not using anybody in particular, but if
Right.
Bricks wanted to use the sidewalk all the way around to Zambito's, it might be a problem. But
Right.
once 3 or 4 tables out there, again, I believe Al will be on board with me. We'll be okay with that.
The only reason I ask is because they've come to me and asked me. That's why I'm asking you.
No, and they've talked to me, and I told them the same thing. I said, once the regulations come out, we'll see what it is.
Okay.
So that's what the permit is. That's basically the permit. The state and the county has left it up to us, and that's how it goes. So the only one that's reached out is Frida's. Again, Frida has opportunities to do things outside of the public sidewalk. She hasn't gotten back to me yet with any kind of public sidewalk option for tomorrow. So, but we'll obviously work with our businesses. It's not going to be a
They
problem.
talked to me, and I think if they go up to where the stairway is up to Frank's apartments, I don't think they should go any further past that.
Well, that's kind of where it goes. Yeah, that's fine.
Because people are
Again,
going to be walking up there.
obviously, it's submittal to us, and again, as long as it's reasonable, I don't think we're going to have a problem with any of it.
Okay.
And
They
I
wanna-
talked to him too, Ed. I talked to Frank the other day. And yeah, so whenever they decide to do something like Tom says, we got the paperwork, and they just get submitted to myself and Tom. And
All right. Sounds good.
No problem.
If they want to put, say, a bench on the grass or use part of their parking lot because it's not being fully utilized because they're
They
aren't
don't have a
having service inside,
He's
is
talking
that
about
an
Frida's.
option also?
freedom.
It's an option without a permit by us because they're not using our sidewalks. The only other alternative problem they might have, again, is within the liquor authority. If they're not serving liquor and they want outside service in a grassed area per se, and it's not on town property, they're more than welcome to do it with the 6-foot distancing and all the other regulations with the masks.
Yeah, and all the servers have to have masks and stuff like that. We've seen it on TV a million places.
Okay, there's one other comment I'd like to make, and that is you really need to be prepared because you may end up getting people who come in who say it's unconstitutional to force me to wear a mask. I'm not saying it to you. I don't want to hear the answer now, but I'm just saying that you should be prepared to deal with a person who feels that way and decide exactly how you want to deal with that.
You know,
Jim,
that's
that goes
a
right back to
legal-
my-
legal question,
It's,
so.
that goes back to my mandatory, that's our building. You know, they're within our building at that point. That's where we have control. We can't tell them what to do on the sidewalk or in a parking lot. We have the right to tell them what to do inside our building. So that's why we.
That's a good legal question too, Alan, and, Jane.
Well, I certainly agree with that. Okay, but I just want to let you know that there are people, and there are people in this town who feel that way. It's not me, but there
That's
are
why I
people
brought
that
it
feel
up,
that way.
Jim. That's why I
Thanks,
brought it up.
James. I think,
Thank you.
anything else, James?
Thank you very much.
You're welcome very much.
Al,
Yes,
this is Mark Reynolds.
Mark Reynolds, how are you, sir?
Good, good. I just, I'd missed whether it was said or not, I'm not sure. The protest march starts at what time?
Noon time,
Noontime
June
on the
14th.
14th.
On the 14th at 12 noon, and it lasts about 4 hours?
We're
Or less
hoping
than-
it lasts less than that. But that's our.
That's the
hope.
maximum.
That's our hope.
Maximum, okay. I just wanted to check on that. I'll try to get a quick little paragraph in, but I'll also try to come down and take pictures as well.
Yeah, and it's gonna start at the Cluett Chance Memorial Park.
Are they going to be inside, deeper in the park, near where the pavilion is or something?
They're gonna be where the,
So basically, Mark, you missed the whole beginning of the meeting.
So they'll be at the stage area.
So
Gotcha.
it's gonna be at the stage area.
Gotcha, okay.
Of course, that's where they could, Tony Falco is donating his time and setting up a microphone.
Right, and then there's going to be, as you mentioned, a little ceremony down in front of the police station.
Yes, the kneeling
Correct.
will be in front of the police station for the 8 minutes, 45 seconds, is it?
43, yep.
43 seconds?
And what was that fellow Joe's last name? I missed that.
Joseph's last name, the chief has that. You remember his last name, chief? I know
Mark,
you
if
took
you
notes.
give me a
but-
call in the morning, I have it written down with contact information. I'm not recalling it right now this
The
second.
chief will send information on Joseph tomorrow morning, Mark.
Okay, and will, if the public who hears this on the meeting or reads it, they can just come and attend and march?
yes.
Yes.
That's correct.
Peacefully.
And if they want, right, exactly. If they want any other information, Chief, would they call your department?
There's the
Please, no.
Facebook.
No,
Put in
no.
Go to
Facebook.
No, no.
Facebook and look for Tatiana Hickman.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, gotcha. All right, many thanks.
Her
Okay,
email,
Mark.
her email was on the invite for this meeting, Mark, Tatiana's, so
Okay,
contact her.
I'll go back and look at that as well, but I do have her name.
Yep, yeah, and you also have. the
Al,
other
I gotta
two.
interrupt, Al. I have to leave because I got a septic problem going on here. That's why I keep jumping out.
I'm sorry to hear that.
It's not a good situation. The only thing I gotta ask you is, what are we doing about the pavilion and the park with the Lions Club? And are we,
So I had a conversation with Jennison. I had a conversation with Mr. Callow. They're gonna come up with a plan. They're gonna present it to us and then we're gonna go with it. So I told them that the board's in favor of whatever they would like to do, as long as we have a plan and then we know what's going on. I don't know by that time if the bathrooms will be closed or open. So we're gonna take it one step at a time, but they were happy with the conversation that we had.
all right, yeah, Steve called me back and said they were possibly thinking about having 2 dinners or 2 lunch seatings, so to split them up. So if we allow it, and we have any plans of possibly opening the pavilion back up in July if everything moves forward all right?
We'll see what phases are and see how we can do that. I know that, I'm already in dialogue with the people with the playground. We'll start that construction back up in the end of this month. So we'll vacate all the equipment out of the top 2 bathrooms. And once we find out about, what's going on with COVID, hopefully everything will be okay. And then we'll start reopening the bathrooms down below by the pavilion. But
How about bocce?
All right, I gotta go. I'm
All
sorry.
All right, Scott, good luck.
Not a
Guys.
problem.
Scott.
I'll talk to you later, Scott. Give me
Yeah,
a call.
I'm sorry. Yeah,
No worries.
bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
So, who was talking?
I
Okay,
think Ed was asking.
Yeah, I'm getting all kinds of calls from the people from bocce.
I think that's still a no-no.
No, I told him that, but I told him I would bring it up.
Yeah, I mean, Ed, you're just as well versed on this whole COVID-19 as anybody else. So I trust your.
Well, you know who actually called me up for a long time was Tom Schroeder. So he goes to me, says to me, "Can we have practice bocce?" I said, "No, that's the same thing as bocce. I don't understand what you mean." I said, "If you really had to play bocce the right way, you would have to take your gloves off after every shot and put another pair of gloves on."
Yeah, it's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. Yeah. So we're going to take it one step at a time. We have great guidance from the county officials. Tom's kept us abreast. So we'll take it a little time. We don't want to jump into anything that's not going to be good for the town. So that being said, this is a great meeting. I appreciate it. I just want to talk, just briefly on the Western Avenue water tank that we put on the agenda. If you go by there, I know it's a big knot, and I know it's the water district, so I think the water district will pay for the big knot. But Charlie gave me an estimate. I'm really worried about that tank. It's rusted. It hasn't been painted in a long time. I think he gave me a price of $153,000. Chris Wilco's on the Zoom meeting. I don't think the water department has that. I just would ask maybe if the board gave me the approval to go out and ask Charlie to get 2 more quotes, to get 3 quotes all in all. And so this way, see if that $153,000 is in line with actually what you do as far as.
I just think that water district's been hit so hard lately. It's crazy. I mean, it's.
Well, I think, guys, I'm going to go back to what I've been saying since I've been a councilman, is we do not take care of what we have. And it comes down to this every single time when the tank's rusty. The tank's been rusting for like a decade. Tank's been needed to be painted for a decade. It was expensive 10 years ago. It's expensive today. It's going to be expensive 2 years from now. We have to start managing our districts better. And maybe they weren't before us, but we have to manage them better. I brought up about the sewer, department. Now we went down there and met. We have the condition of that. We know what it's going to cost, and it's not going to be cheap. But it has to be done. It's not. So yeah, go get 2 more estimates, and it is what it is. I mean, rust is only going to get rustier.
The biggest problem, Alan, with the Marlborough district down there, you probably have the houses there, average income in the village,
right?
Which is where that comes from, is not that high.
No, I understand.
And they $50 to $100. These people live paycheck to paycheck. I live around them.
Ed, I 100% agree with you. I 100% agree with you, but it's to the point where it cost $153,000 because it was ignored for a decade or more.
Right, but here's the thing that bothers me. I had nice water until they made me hook up, and they made you hook up, and they made you take the sewer. And you know what? I was fine with my septic. Unfortunately, I wasn't like Scott is right now, but I'm paying more taking sewer and water than I would be if I had to drain my septic every 2 or 3 years.
Yeah,
that's a personal thing.
100%. Ed, I feel for everybody there, but the problem is this always comes down to the point where it's catastrophic and it needs to be an emergency purchase, and then we overtax the people because we're paying. Where if we just managed it a little bit better along the way, which I'll be honest with you, I don't mean any disrespect to anybody who was there before me, but they didn't do it. And here's where we are today.
Well, certain things are not in our control, like the water that we buy from Newburgh.
Al, this is beyond water. We're talking about our infrastructure. We own our pipes, we own our tanks, we own our pumps.
I agree with you. I'm agreeing with you.
Well,
So
the
that's
answer is
why I
yes.
brought it up. That's
Go
the
get
reason
two
I
more
brought
estimates.
it
Go
up.
get 2 more estimates.
I will. But you know, I
Chris
wanted to let
Gilbo
the
can
board
talk to you.
know, like I usually do. Transparency is always great, and I'll get the 2 estimates. I'll talk to Chris Wilco, see how it all we can manage it, and I'll report to the board at the next meeting.
Can we afford it, Chris?
Not right, well, it depends. I mean, we have to.
Well, it's going to be passed on to the water district anyway, right?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, there's different ways that we can go about it. You know, unfortunately, a rate increase, borrowing from the general fund.
That guy, we could call that guy, the guy that called. So let us figure it out. Let's not figure it out here right now.
Right.
And we'll report back to the board.
Well, the answer is
All right.
two more estimates.
Yeah, and
Okay.
we'll see what alternatives would we have to pay for it. And I'll come
Okay.
back to the board with that too. Okay?
All right.
Thank you.
All right,
Okay.
thank you all. Great meeting as always. Thank you, Joseph, for joining us.
Thank you for having me, yes. And for having Tim.
Was that an old picture that I saw with your head shaved?
Yes. No, that was I'm a 7-year cancer survivor. So that was during chemo. So mom, who you knew, most of you probably knew my mom, Terry, but we were going through chemo together. Yeah. So it was it was actually a kind of an amazing experience in many ways, but it's hard to believe it's thank you very much. Yeah. And I never thought I'd be back living in Milton in my home,
Welcome back, Joe.
my hometown, the house that my parents built, but here we are. So
nice to see you.
Yeah. Thanks very much.
Alan, or anybody?
Yeah, I guess I'll bring up maybe I can get a motion for an adjournment.
So I got
Second?
the motion for adjournment.
I'll
All in
second
favor?
it.
Good job, Ed.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Tom.
All right.
Colleen.
Right.
Good night.
Take
Good
care.
night, everybody.
Good night,
Everybody.
Good night,
Be
everybody.
safe.
Have a pleasant,
night.
safe night.
Take
Thank
care.
you, Danielle. Thank you, Howard.
Bye.
Take care, guys.
Ciao.
Art, can you
Ciao.
email me the meeting tomorrow? Thank you, sir. Have a good night.
Thank you, Chief.
Good night.
Night. Thanks, Howard.
Bye-bye, guys.